All right, so here we go. Today, I just wanted to go over some things that you might need to know or make it easier for you if you're just getting into digital marketing. So whether that's affiliate marketing, network marketing, click marketing, or whatever. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the apps that you can use. And this is going to be super high level. I'm going to go through really quickly because there's so much stuff. Not trying to overwhelm you, just want to give you an idea of what you can do and what's out there, and then you could make some choices. Go into it slowly. If you're brand new, don't go and spend a lot of money. In fact, if you can, don't spend any money on the stuff that I'm going to talk about. So obviously, in a fast-paced world like digital marketing, having these tools is going to be, crucial to have them at your disposal, in regardless which kind of digital marketing you do. And let's face it, network marketing and affiliate marketing is all the same digital marketing for what we're talking about. And these apps can help you to streamline your whole process so that you can increase your productivity and enhance not only your marketing strategies, but the results you get from the marketing. And all of that is going to make it a lot easier for you to keep your head on straight, because this stuff can get really confusing really quickly. And take it in baby steps. So just some minor advice there. But so one of the topics I want to talk about is going to be social media management. So if you're going to do any posting to social media, you can do automated posting, and you can use several different programs to do that. And one of the programs that's out there is Buffer. I've used that myself, and you can schedule, and then you can publish your posts, and then you can analyze the results to see what's working and maybe what you need to improve or tweak. There's something called Hootsuite. I've also used that, and that's sort of the same thing. Their analytics are a little bit maybe more robust depending on how you're going to use them. There's something called Later, so that's more for visual content. So if you're not doing visual, don't even worry about it. Use one of the other ones. There's something called Ruby. So Ruby is evolving in this field. Now it's a solid company and all that. It's just not how they began their company, so they're just getting into that. So if this is all you were looking for, I wouldn't suggest using Ruby, but that name's going to come up a little bit more later, so there's a reason why I'm mentioning it. And then there's something called Canva, so you can also schedule your posts through Canva to a few of the different platforms. And then there's Designer, Desygener. So that is kind of a mirror of Canva, but you can post to more platforms. So that's why I'm mentioning it here. And if you can get the free version or of Canva or Designer, or I think all of these have a free version, but the difference between Canva and Designer is that Canva's paid version is a little bit more expensive, but their library of assets that you can use within that subscription level is much more robust. And then there's something called Odoo, O-D-O-O. That's O-D-O-O. So Odoo can get to more automated posts to more platforms than anything else I've ever found. The user interface is it's very user friendly, and it's just a nice layout, and it's easy to look at, and it's easy to find some data. I'm a techno geek, so I really want to get into the weeds of stuff. I'm very analytical, so it doesn't do any of those things. None of these really have the analytics that I'm looking for. But if you're just starting out, you might want to go right with Odoo. Keep in mind that all of the platforms that you're going to auto post to have terms of service. You want to read through the terms of service to make sure that they allow automatic posting. Many of them do not. And the last thing you need, especially when you're starting up, or even when you build a profile, a huge audience, you don't want them to shut you down. And they can, and they will. So just make sure you're only sending automatic posts to the platforms that accept it. Then there's the content creation. So you talk about posting this stuff, but what are you posting? You're going to post content. So you can you can create posts and images and text and all that through Canva. And it is one of the easier ones to use. You can also use Designer. Like I said, they sort of mirror each other. There's pros and cons to each. There's something called Adobe Spark. So I haven't used Adobe Spark. I guess that's more for graphics and web pages and video stories and things like that. You also want to just make sure that whatever you're posting is correct. And you've seen them, I'm sure you've seen them with these huge posts and big bright colors, and they don't use punctuation, they don't use capitalization, they don't use proper grammar, and it just makes them look stupid. And the first thing I do is scroll by. I'm not going to look at that garbage. But there's something called Ruby. Ruby is like, I mentioned that briefly before, and now here's where we're going to get into the nitty-gritty. So a lot of times you're going to use artificial intelligence, right? That's a big thing now. Everybody's using that. So with Ruby, they integrated a whole bunch of stuff. So you can get the, sort of the Chat GPT is sort of the default that you hear all the time. Well, there's GPT-40, GPT-40 Mini, there's Command 4096, there's Claude 3 Opus, Claude 3.5 Sonnet, there's Claude 3 Haiku, there's Claude Instant, then there's Gemini Pro, Gemini 1.5 Pro, and all of those are just integrated beautifully in Ruby. So it's so much more user-friendly to use. They're very intuitive, and you can change tone. So let's say that you aren't necessarily very technical, but you want to advertise to a technical audience. Then you can use the AI that will give you all the technical data that you might not even understand. Or maybe you want to make it simpler, or maybe you want to make it funnier, or whatever you want to do. You can use any one of those chat models, and they're all customizable. So that's another thing. You can customize them to your specific audience. So you can say, well, this is my audience. Here's their age. Here's what geographic area they're in, maybe their income level, whatever you want to use, and it can customize their response to that audience. So it's awesome. In addition, this is all within Ruby. In addition, you can create some images within Ruby, and you can do that elsewhere, but it's not integrated anywhere else that I'm aware of. But you can have 7 different styles of Midjourney. You can use DALL-E 3. There's 30 styles of Leonardo, 7 styles of Stable Diffusion XL, all rolled into this one beautiful, easy-to-use platform. In addition, you can do a host of image enhancements as well. Also within Ruby, there's a voice lab, there's a video lab, there's a music lab. So now you're starting to begin to understand the depth and scope and breadth of everything that's in Ruby. So I strongly recommend Ruby if you're going to really get serious, because it's sort of that one-stop shopping kind of place. Then the next area I want to talk about a little bit is video. So when you're brand new, you don't necessarily have to dive right into video, get everything else in place first. But if you're going to do video, of course, the king of video presentations is going to be YouTube. There's also something called Vimeo, Vimeo. So you've probably heard of it before. And I like Vimeo because it is easy to manipulate your videos and so forth. And you can then easily post them to YouTube or other places. Then again, with Ruby has the video lab, and you can create, let's say you don't want your face on the video, but you do want your voice in the video. So you can either dictate into whatever app you want, or you can just take text, put it into Ruby, you train your voice, and then Ruby will read that text in your voice. And I've done it, and I cannot tell the difference between me and not me. It's truly amazing. Now, the pauses aren't really necessarily perfect to who I am and so forth. It probably has more to do with the way I recorded it than anything else. So again, another reason why you might want to consider Ruby. And full disclosure here, if you get Ruby, please use my link. If you use my link and you're buying Ruby, then I'm going to get a little bit of a commission on that. But that's not why I'm recommending it to you. Next topic I want to talk about is going to be email marketing. So if you have an email list, and you will develop one over time, I'm sure that's really kind of one of the main things that you do as a digital marketer. You can use automated platforms such as MailChimp. So that's kind of a stable name in email marketing. So you can do the automation, and it'll give you the analytics, and you can customize your campaigns and so forth. I've used that briefly. I have not used ConvertKit, but that's supposed to be more robust, and it's designed more for creators, offering the more advanced automation and segmentation. So maybe that's a little bit beyond where you want to be, especially at the beginning. There's Sendinblue, which I have investigated kind of thoroughly, and I just didn't have occasion to actually use it. But that can not only do the email part of it, it can also do the SMS, which is text messaging. Now, I don't know if the other two do it, but I know that Sendinblue does. And these are their words now. Their focus is on growing business. Focus on growing businesses. So take it, I don't know what that means necessarily, but that's what they say, and I haven't used it. I've used Aweber. Not a big fan of Aweber. I know they used to be sort of the gold standard in a lot of ways. I just don't find them to be user-friendly for me and for what I want to do. Then there's HubSpot, which is really great. The free version is, you can do an awful lot with it in terms of a CRM, but as far as the email marketing, I wouldn't get HubSpot unless you're really, ready and willing and able to spend a big chunk of change, because you're going to be spending a big chunk of change on HubSpot. But I want to mention it here to sort of give you a scope of what's out there. There's something called System. It's SYSTEME. You might hear it as System.io, but that's the extension. IO is the extension. So SYSTEME, and that's great for starting. I believe they still have a free version for you, so you can use that. There's obviously some limitations. It'll do probably everything that you need it to do. And if it doesn't, just rethink that. Do I really need the extra stuff? Because not only do we have the extra features, you might also get some extra headaches. There's just more to do, right? There's more to know and more to follow. But definitely I would recommend that to start with. So start with System. Next is the analytics and the tracking. So this is not something that I get into too much, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes, but there's Google Analytics, there's Ahrefs, there's SEMrush, but built into, for instance, these other platforms, including System, you have some of the analytics. Are they robust? Not really. Are they adequate? Oh yeah, more than adequate. I'm, like I said, a techno geek, so I want more analytics, and I'll analyze everything down to the electrons. So nobody's going to do that for me. But again, when you're just starting out, I would recommend starting out, very simply and doing it with that. Then there's the old standby SEO, keyword research. So SEO is search engine optimization, so that when I go searching for you, your stuff is optimized so that it'll come up sooner in that search, whether it's whatever search engine you happen to be using. So there's something called Yoast. That's YOAST SEO. I've never used it. That's great for WordPress websites. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just let it go in one ear out the other. It's not important right now. If you're new, there's something called Moz. That's MOZ. There's Ubersuggest, but then there's Ruby. So Ruby is not per se an SEO keyword search platform, but you can say, here's my URL, and please describe that for me. And it'll come up with a page and a half of stuff, right? But you can say, well, no, limit it to one paragraph. But it'll also come up with SEO keywords. So you can say, what are the greatest SEO keywords that I can use for this website, either the URL, or you can paste it in terms of text and say, read this text, come up with some keywords, or you can have it read a PDF. You can do so many different things with Ruby. So that's why I love Ruby. But the other thing that'll do also is you can say, well, what are the best hashtags that I should be using for this? So another feature. Something else I want to briefly mention is your customer relationship management. And as you start collecting people's data, you definitely want to have one of those. I use HubSpot as a CRM. The free version gives you, I don't know how many, but I've got 85,000 contacts in my HubSpot free version. And if you're going to go into some other features like the emailing or things like that, that's going to cost you money. Salesforce, the same thing. Salesforce can be very intricate and detailed and complex and so forth. So that will, last time I checked, it's going to run you a pretty good penny. So when you're beginning, you don't necessarily need that, but just know that it's out there so you can grow into it. Because what you want to do with your CRM is you want to kind of pick one that you're going to stick with. So with System, if you get so big that System is not big enough for you, then you can export it easily enough. Where some of these other platforms, it's going to be a little more complicated to go from one to the other. There's something called Zoho CRM. I've never used it, but I've heard of it and so forth. So you might want to go with that. There's built-in or proprietary CRMs. That's going to be very important. So if you have an opportunity, whether it's network marketing, affiliate marketing, and so forth, they might have their own CRM built in, which is great. Super easy for you. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to do anything with it. It's all automated in most cases. That's great. Keep in mind, you might not own all of the data. You might own some of it, and in some cases, you will own none of it. So just be aware of that. There's something called NowSite, which has a limited CRM capabilities, designed really solely for the contacts that you're actually campaigning, as opposed to potentially going to campaign. So NowSite also does a lot more beyond the scope of what we're going to talk about. So if you see NowSite and you're trying to build even a robust website, unless they've changed it, they typically before did that for free. You say, here's what I want to do with my website. They'll create it for you. Or you can say, here's a website I love, clone it for me, and they'll do those kind of things. I believe they still do that. But there might be a cost to it now, whereas before they did that for free. But if you're using it, if you're looking for strictly a CRM, then you don't want to go with necessarily NowSite, unless you're going to import all of your contacts, and there's some limitations. With System, it's sort of the same. System is a lot easier to use. It's more user-friendly than NowSite, and it can sort of do more with regard to the CRM and with the web funnels and all that. But NowSite has a lot of other features that you might want to consider. And then there's Ruby. So with Ruby, it's, you're really not quite there yet, but you can do so much more with Ruby that it sort of makes sense, especially if you're using an external CRM. You might want to find ways to integrate Ruby with that. And that's a topic for another day. Then there's a project management and collaboration. So the bigger the project, the more people collaborating and so forth, the more sophisticated you want a project management platform to be. If you're going to keep it kind of simple or just have a few people that you're collaborating with, then you probably want to, you'll probably be fine with Trello. Trello is even great if you're the only one and you want to just sort of organize your thoughts and say, well, I'm going to write this article. Here's step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's the platforms I'm going to put it on. And yeah, that kind of stuff is all great. Trello is great for all that. And then Asana, very, very similar in a lot of ways. So that might be another way to go if you're starting to get a little more complicated. So for instance, I was a director of publications, and I had a whole bunch of people on so many different levels working directly for me, but I also had to integrate with several other departments. So now you're talking about thousands of people, okay, maybe hundreds of people that are all using the platform. So that's something you might want to do with Slack. You can do Slack on a smaller scale. On a larger scale, I'm not confident that you can do it with Trello or with Asana or some of the others. So you might want to think about Slack. If you're not sure which way to go and you're not looking for something really big, do it with spreadsheets. I do that all the time. I'm really great with spreadsheets. So for me, that's easier. I can customize it, and I know where the data is because I put the data set there, and I can integrate spreadsheets from one to the next within the same workbook, and even from one workbook to the next. So if you're at that level, you're probably all better off just customizing spreadsheets for yourself. Also, I want to talk about your domain. So in a lot of cases, you're not going to be able to do any email marketing unless you have your own domain. And by own, I mean you own it. So if you find something that you like, especially if it's your name, just get it now. If you can't get the .com version because it's like $27,000 or something, you can typically get a .me site or some of these other ones where they're very inexpensive. So just pay attention to that. If you are, and you should be interested in branding, even though you're new, you want to start off now because backtracking is going to make it a lot more difficult. But if you're doing branding, you definitely want to have your own domain. And I would strongly recommend that if you don't, I would say the first choice would be to have your name as the domain. And if you have sort of a common name, you just want to have your first name, maybe your middle initial, your last name. And then if you have something else after it that would identify you, that's fine. Use that as your domain. And then, for instance, you can have your first name, middle initial, last name at first name, middle initial, last name.com, for instance. So you can do that. But in terms of business, you kind of want to make sure you get your own domain. And then when your emails go out, they have your domain name automatically. It's easier to find and look for you and so forth. And you start building the back end of the analytics of all these algorithms. So that's going to make it a little bit easier for them to feel confident that you're the right person to send people to. So it all gets very complicated, but to just trust me when I say if you can get your own domain, that's probably going to be the way that makes the most sense. Then I want to talk about the different types of digital marketing. So there's network marketing, affiliate marketing, there's click marketing, there's about a dozen different marketings, multi-level marketing, and so forth. And they are all different. Don't let anybody tell you that, oh, network marketing is the same as this other. No, they're not. They're different. They might only be different, technically different, and they might be the same in terms of the population. Just know and understand that they are different. Know the differences, and then just go with it. You're going to be the only one who knows the difference anyway. But knowing that difference can come in handy when you're doing various types of marketing. So a couple of examples of network marketing. There's something called Live Good that's available worldwide. That's one that I would recommend. I can give you the link if you want, and you can make money with Live Good, for instance. And it's that company has a lot of products, but it's basically they're in the health industry, so they have vitamins and supplements, but they're also interested in saying, okay, for instance, looked really closely at diabetes, and they said, what can we do for diabetes? So they made a deal with the federal government to lower the rates on a couple of things that you can get through them, and then they said, well, what happens when you take these medicines? Well, this is what happens in the body, and they said, well, let's create a supplement that will fill those areas that have now been voided by that medicine. So it's just a great way to think about it in terms of a company. Then there's something else called Nexus Snap Rewards. That's a great one because the entry level is free and it can be truly passive. When people talk about passive income, it's probably not passive income. And 99.9% of the time, when somebody says it's passive income, it's not passive income. But with Nexus, it can actually be truly income. And just to give you a little explanation, that's where you join and do nothing. And then a little way down the road, you'll see some pennies rolling in, some dollars, and then you might get a pretty decent monthly chunk of change after a while. But you've done nothing, absolutely nothing but join. So that's passive, okay? And people will talk about residual income, and they don't know the difference between residual income and ongoing income. And to just understand the differences. But with Nexus, it's really only going to do you any good if you're in the United States. As a customer, you can recruit from outside of the United States. But in terms of the money part of it, right now, really, you're just going to make money with people that are in the United States. So those are two examples. I can give you dozens more. There's hundreds and probably thousands of them out there that'll make sense for you. But those are some of the things you want to think about in terms of not only what you can do with them, but then what apps you want to use behind them. There's something called affiliate marketing. So a lot of companies have affiliate marketing opportunities. So I mentioned HubSpot before. Well, you can be an affiliate and you might get some money, earn some money by doing that. So if you're going to use the platform and they have an affiliate program, you might as well just sign up for the affiliate program. Most of them, maybe all of them, are free. Ruby AI has an affiliate program associated with it. There's something called Be Connected. That's another one that has an affiliate program. Aweber is another one. Then there's ClickBank, and that's great for affiliates who want to find products to promote across various niches. There's Commission Junction, which offers a wide variety of affiliate marketers that you can very easily buy into, so you don't have to do the research yourself. You can just use the platform to do it. So that's a good way to go. Nexus has an affiliate program. ClickUp is another affiliate program. Then there's advertising marketing. So there's thousands of companies that do that. I'm just going to throw some names out at you because some of these names are pretty interesting. And by the names, you'll understand there must be a lot of companies out there doing that to need to come up with names like this. But so there's AdLand Pro, there's Ad Proceeds, there's Excel classified ads, there's classified online ads, there's business ads for free, there's Let's Post free classified ads. There's one Post Next free ads, free online classified ads. There's quick ads, but they spell quick differently, of course. There's United States free classified. So there's a whole bunch of them that you can potentially make some money with. Then there's landing pages and funnel builders that you want to be aware of, and you can use something like Lead. If this is over your head, again, I'm just giving you, 30,000-foot view here, so don't get all worried about that. And I'm going to do some YouTubes on each one of these areas a little bit more in depth at a later date. But there's Leadpages, there's ClickFunnels, which you've probably already heard of. There's Ubounce. Again, there's NowSite, and there's Systems. We briefly mentioned these things before. So you want to kind of hone in on where you want that to all be. In this case, again, I would default to System, SYSTEME.io. And then there's ad management now. So if you're going to do any paid ads, then you want to manage them and you want to have some analytics behind them. So that's when you might want to use something like Google Ads or Facebook Ads or AdRoll. If you're doing all paid ads, I think that kind of makes sense. Pick your niche, pick your platform, pick your apps and so forth. If you're doing network marketing, affiliate marketing, even click marketing and some others, paying for ads may not be the way to go. I have not found it to be very productive. In my experience, I'm not getting a return on investment on anything that I've ever paid for. Same thing with leads. If you're going to pay companies to give you leads, more than 9 times out of 10, they're just not worth the price. So the important thing here is to know that, sort of the big picture, the right combination of these tools can make a significant difference in your efficiency and effectiveness and the efforts that you put into it. You want to sort of tailor that toolkit of all these different apps. A lot of them can work together well, and some of them don't. So you want to look at that too. I know we're going high level here, but whatever meets your specific needs for the platforms where your audience frequents. So, for instance, if you don't think that your target audience is going to be on this one social media platform, why bother? Concentrate on the money makers first, or the ones where you're going to see a lot of activity first. But by leveraging all of these apps together, you can enhance how your marketing strategies. You can optimize better with your campaigns, understand the analytics more clearly, at least, and ultimately drive better results to what you want to do. So if you found this video to be helpful, please, please, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to access more beginner e-tools, tech tips, and comment below. So until next time, happy, productive, and efficient browsing. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss any update. And we'll see you in the next video. Take care.